A male presenter with a blue jumper sits in a wooden panelled room. Next to him is an old-fashioned wooden box with a handle.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Reinarz. I'm a medical historian at the University of Birmingham. I put together an exhibition which marked the 200th anniversary of a medical school in Birmingham. So for the purposes of today, I've selected a few objects that I'd like to talk about in a bit more detail. So the first one is this box of bones.
The presenter opens the box. Inside you can see some papers and the top of a hip bone.
So this was an anatomical half set. And half sets were required to be purchased by all first-year medical students.
A cutaway shot shows two medical students in a laboratory discussing two bones that one of them is holding.
Up until the 1980s, these would have been shipped to the UK from India. These were unclaimed bodies of the poor. So this particular one, it has been replaced with plastic replicas, but students would have been required to buy for a few pounds a set like this and probably never thought where these bones came from. By the 1980s, this trade was outlawed. A lot of people who had studied and held on to their half sets, these turn up in attics, in cupboards.
A cutaway shot shows the presenter arranging some old medical artifacts in a glass case and then closing the door.
So while the trade is officially ended, these turn up, and probably not the last time you'll see a set like this. All right, now the second piece I have here is it's a mold from a dental student.
The presenter holds a small orange device that looks as if it would fit over teeth inside the mouth.
I used to give a lecture for a pathology society in Birmingham. One day I came across the name Harold Round, and I had never heard of Harold Round before. So I did a little bit of research. Now, Harold Round was one of the first students to graduate from the dental hospital when it became a dental school in 1900.
A black and white photograph shows a group of 11 men wearing formal suits. Most of them have moustaches. There is one woman dressed as a matron in the front row.
And by the First World War, he started working in the local war hospitals. And the university was turned into one of those hospitals, and they saw a lot of casualties who'd been removed from the Western Front. A lot of them had been injured in ways that people had never seen before with the trench warfare that was taking place. A lot of facial injuries and horrific injuries to the mouth and jaw. And Harold Round and Arthur Parrott opened up a jaw clinic, and they did some of the first reconstructive surgery in the world, actually. So
another close-up of the orange device shows a hinged cavity which opens in the side for radium to be inserted.
What I actually have is just an ordinary dental sort of fitting which would have allowed somebody to apply radium to a mouth cancer. So he and Arthur Parrott then filed a patent at the US Patent Office for the very first airbag. And every patent that has been issued since, whether it's BMW or Mercedes or any other automobile company, they reference that first patent in 1919. So the final piece is a forceps.
The presenter holds a pair of shiny medical forceps.
One of the blue plaques we have on the front of the medical school also recognizes the work of the first woman to be appointed a professor at the university. So again, this particular forceps is not necessarily one that was used by Hilda Lloyd.
A black and white photograph shows a woman in formal business clothes with wavy hair tied back. She looks to be around 50 years old.
But it's one that would have been included in the obstetric flying squad that she set up. So although people knew how to deliver children at the beginning of the 20th century, maternal mortality was still embarrassingly high.
The presenter shows how the forceps can be taken apart and reassembled.
In the UK and in the Western world, really, in the early 20th century. And at the time that Hilda Lloyd studied medicine in Birmingham, just before the First World War, these rates were still quite high. But of course, people were delivering children at home, not in hospital. So a lot of times when people were experiencing complications of birth and postpartum hemorrhage, for example, there wasn't a medical practitioner available to deal with these medical emergencies. So what Hilda Lloyd did after she qualified and became a member of staff was set up an obstetric flying squad, which, according to their reports, responded to these emergencies within about half an hour of receiving a call. So as a result of setting up that obstetric flying squad, first dozens, and then by the end of the 1940s, hundreds of women who would have probably died during childbirth were being saved.